So glad you found us on YouTube. I have been coaching for 30 years, so I know how many great resources there are out there. I tried to bring them together at teachhoops.com. Let me help you become a better basketball coach. All sorts of great resources on there. And even the best part is the community, the one-on-one calls with me, office hours, you name it. You know, I've been there. You can see behind all the balls. You can see a couple of my players have played in the NBA. I am here to help. I am here to serve. So go over and check it out. Click above, down below, teachhoops.com. Enjoy the video.
Pass feeds the post.
Screening is a lost art.
Oh, big time. Well,
Don't
let me
you
tell you.
think?
Hey, yes. Now, hey, here I can't.
There's
believe
your next video right there.
I'm
Screen.
going to give you $1 million. I can't believe I'm giving this away. Okay? I'm going to do it right now.
Okay.
All right, here goes. I want you to get some jerseys or T-shirts made that says "Pin me" on the back of them.
Right.
On the back of them.
Okay.
And your defense has got to wear them.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you're on offense and you can see the words "Pin me," you're the one that should be setting the pin screen.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Now get on a board and play with it, and you're going to see that pin screens are always set by players 2 or more spots away from the ball. It's never the responsibility of a player 1 pass away.
Right.
They're reading the ball and reacting quickly, right? But players that are 2 or more away, they have an angle and they can see if the defenders are helping and sagging.
Right.
And they'll see them from their back. That's why I say.
That's great. There's your Hey, I'll give you my $1 million idea. You know those things we used to wear as kids that you play laser tag with and stuff, and they.
Yeah.
Okay, so spacing is horrible, and read and react is all about spacing. So I think you should do is get some sort of thing you could put on a practice jersey. When you get too close, it flashes. So. So it's about spacing. It's like soccer could use it, basketball could use it. It's all about spacing. And then you could change the distance between the spacings.
I love it.
Because you want to get to the spots,
Right.
in the and it's like you're too close, you're too far, you're never in the right spot.
Dick Helm used to say, I had him help me with dynamic defense. It was his defense, and he gave it to me and said, hey, put some meat on the bones and turn this into a course. And so I did. And in talking to him, you can't talk defense without talking offense and vice versa, right?
Right.
And he said, look, it was just kind of a by-the-way thing. And he said, look, Rick, we were talking about, what's the toughest thing to defend? That's kind of the way the conversation was going.
Yep.
He said, I'm not going to name offenses. I'm just going to say great offenses have 3 aspects: spacing, player movement, and ball movement.
Yep.
If you can get all 3 of those, just now.
Okay, so everybody pause right now and rewind that because that's big. Okay. Yes.
Spacing, player movement, and ball movement.
Yes.
And he said, now look, an okay offense will have 1 of those. A good offense will have 2 of them. Great offenses have 3, all 3.
Right.
And so
that's React has that.
Yeah, that's why, Steve, you said the spots are so important. I mean, that's why we actually put physical spots down to train them. It's that important.
Right. Yeah. We use like the gym tape kind of thing and put it like this is your yes. Because I first of all, I'm also think the court's too small for kids now. I think the court needs to get bigger. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, you're watching the NCAA tournament.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Something's got to change.
That and the NBA, you're watching, and it's like, okay, these guys should have a bigger court.
Okay, so I coach Wesley, and Wesley's 6'4". He plays for the Mavericks.
Yeah.
He looks tiny. He looks like and he's not tiny. He's like a linebacker when he comes into the gym, and it's like he looks tiny, because those guys are so big. All right, so I'm going to ask you a couple generic questions, and then I think I could go for another hour, but we'll do another one. I promise we'll do another one. All right. If you could go back to yourself as a younger coach, what would you tell yourself?
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. That's easy. I don't want to get specifics, okay, like offenses, defenses, and stuff like that. What I would do, absolutely, this is without a shadow of a doubt, is I would get maybe more than one mentor. And when I say mentor, I mean someone that comes, maybe a retired coach. See, I think we're very guilty in the basketball community of getting enamored with youth. When there are coaches that, at the point of their retirement, they've got a lifetime. They've forgotten more basketball than you know at that time. And they're looking to still be involved. They just don't want the grueling schedule and that got right.
Yep.
To be able to go to a mentor there and say, look, would you, a retired coach, and say, would you be my mentor? Would you come and watch my games and take notes? Would you, if you can come to a practice and watch my practice?
Can you come scout me? I tell young coaches this all the time. It's like, I have people self-scout me. I have them come watch practices. Yeah. I mean, I'm still learning, and I've been doing this for 30 years,
The moment you stop learning in this game, the moment you think you know everything, and there is
Mono's really good at that. PGC, Mono's really good about that. Mentoring. He's the best. He's the
best. The whole PGC curriculum is the best. So, hey, if I could go back and there was a PGC around,
right,
I would become a disciple.
Oh yeah. Oh, now, I am. It's a cult. It's a cult. It's a good cult, Mono. I'm kidding, but it's a good one. But
absolutely good.
All right. If you can think of one coaching moment that you could dive into for our audience that they could learn from, is there one moment in your coaching career that we could just dive and kind of dissect?
That you could learn from.
That another coach could learn from. Someone that's listening to this, that's something that happened to you. One of mine was one of my players got hurt. It was a momentous. It was a big game. I learned about communication. I learned about some other things at that point. Any moment in your coaching career?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I got it. Got it. Okay. We started this season with a point guard that got hurt. Okay, got hurt and didn't come back, and I had to go to a 2 guard. This 2 guy, really, it's more of a 3. Okay, he'd never played point, but he was the best ball handler. I knew he was the smartest.
Right.
He's got a pedigree now, and what I'm saying is his brothers were great players. His father, I think, owned the state of Georgia high school scoring record, something like that. It was
okay.
And this is just a great, heck of a pedigree. And so I asked him to be the point guard. Well, we stunk for a little while, and I could tell from his body language, he wasn't happy.
Right.
Okay? And then something happened. Okay, and I think there's 2 things you can learn here. Something happened, and we began to win. We began to do some really good things. The kid's name was Paul Kenny. If Paul's listening, anybody knows Paul Kenny? That's who it was. And I would have a timeout, let's say, and I always like to try to let them out, or I didn't want to use the whole time in a timeout, right? Get your 3 things and then get going, okay?
Yep.
And so tell them 3 things, and they would leave. They'd go far enough out on the floor that I couldn't hear, and they'd hold another huddle, and I could see Paul tugging jerseys. You know what I mean?
Right.
Talking to somebody, not mean,
right?
But, just reaching and holding the jersey, saying something. I never knew what he was saying. I didn't know if he was repeating what I was saying, if he was making okay. But he started holding these little miniature. Us 5, no more, coaches not in here, team not in here, us.
Right.
And I noticed that started happening. When that started happening, we started winning. Good things started happening, right?
Right.
Okay, so I think I was smart enough to leave it alone. That's what I think. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself for shutting up.
Yep.
And also, from that point on, I started getting even shorter in my timeouts. I wanted to give Paul as much time as he could. And this idea of I don't need to be the one saying everything, leading everything. I need to be building this. I want to duplicate what Paul's doing next year and the year after and year. Now, how do I do that? I don't have drills for that. No one's ever taught me that.
Right.
I got to learn how to, and this is leadership. This is communication. This is right. Now, another lesson that goes with that, okay, was this. At the end of the season, I saw his dad. His dad was one of those good parents, okay?
Right.
Because ordinarily I don't talk to parents, okay? Unless it's about their academics or something
like Bobby Knight said, best coaching jobs in an orphanage. So,
See, that's why I think many coaches want to get to the colleges. They use the 500-mile recruiting rule.
Right, yes.
Recruit them away from their parents, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I talked to his dad, and I said, what happened there? You know, I took him back to that time when that started. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, the kids were coming over to my house and they were doing all the crying and complaining and, you know, and bad mouthing and all this. And he said, and of course they're going to blame coach, you know, well, coach doesn't like me, coach doesn't do this, coach that, right?
Yeah.
And he said, I finally had enough. And he said, when the kids were gone, I pulled Paul aside. And I said, let's just go through every point that was being made here. And let's talk about how much the coach has control of these things. And he did. And then he said, Paul, the one's not your position, but it's time to lead. Forget position. We need a leader. We need someone who knows how to win. We need it, right?
Right.
And he's the one. He's the one that got Paul to start doing that, right? Now, I learned another valuable lesson. If you can find that jewel of a parent,
right,
that can work with your team. And by the way, I mean, he met with the team. He had, because they went over to his house,
right,
between school and practice, and so he would have a chance to, you know, drop a few gems in there, you know, and talk. And they respected him because they knew what kind of.
And they knew what he's talking about. You know, I did something several years ago too. It was not this year, but the previous year. I don't go into the huddle right away. I talk to my coaches before I go to the huddle. 2 years ago, I pulled my point guard and said, "You're going to be part of this group." That's how much I respect. And it was like it was like this because it was like because he felt part of the system. And it's like, I don't, you know, you guys, I'm to the point where I ask them opinions in timeouts. I like, what do you want to run?
Well, in the read and react, I hate to keep going back to read and react, but you know how easy that is.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that should be happening almost organically.
Yes, it should be. Yeah.
Because they're making the moment by moment decisions out there. You're just kind of guiding the big stuff.
Yes.
You know?
What would you tell a young coach if they wanted to get into coaching?
I would tell them, well, first of all, the mentor thing.
Yep.
Second of all, I would be very careful about just taking a job for taking a job. Now, sometimes you do, but I understand that. But you need to hitch your wagon to someone that you can learn from.
Right.
Now, that was a mistake I made. I came out of college and lucked up, took the highest classification in Tennessee, size school.
Wow.
And I took a head job.
Right out of college? Wow. Yeah.
Right out of college. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm 23. What do you think?
You're going to win a state title? Is what
Absolutely. Well, of course. They know.
I know more than everybody.
Someone who appreciates my knowledge of the game. They know I don't need an assist. You know, you're young at that time. Like, I know how to play. I must know how to coach. And just got my head handed to me. Holy cow. Yeah. So I started trying to surround my assistants were coaches that were back in those days. They were coaches that had been former head coaches, getting close to retirement. That's who I was surrounding myself with.
Your circle is really important. I tell people your circle, and you can see, I mean, be a student of the game. These are, these are basketball books or not basketball books, but there's John Gordon books, but I mean, there's all sorts of good books back here.
Well, that'd be the second thing. You just stole it from me. Is that I coached. Well, it wasn't until about 1988 that I, when I moved to Atlanta, I decided that, you know something, Rick, you've been trying it your way based on experience and your playing days and all that kind of stuff. And let's face it, I'm basically doing most of the stuff that my high school or college coaches did.
Right. That's what you do. Yeah.
That's what you do, right? Oh, gosh.
My high school coach ran the flex. Guess what my first offense was?
You're saying I should expect different results just because it's me doing it?
Right.
Come on. Right? So when I moved to Atlanta, I made a pact with myself that I was going to pretend that I knew nothing about the game and ask myself this question. If you did know nothing about the game, what would you do? And you're about to coach. What would you do? Well, you would take a look. First of all, figure out who the best teachers of the game are and become absolute disciples of them.
Yes.
Just absolute. So at that point, for me, it was convenient to go to David Lipscomb in Nashville. Don Meyer.
Oh, you don't have to tell me about Don Meyer. Oh my God. I still find you'll laugh at this. The people are listening, but I still find, like, he used to hand out all those things in different colors.
I've got notebooks. You want to go bring my notebooks?
I swear to God. I know. And I still find them. I find them at school. It's like, oh, there's one of Don. I mean, there's a guy that changed the game too.
Oh, didn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't he? And so he had a clinic that you had to pay for in the spring, and then he had a free one in the fall. I went to 22 clinics in a row before I missed one.
That's crazy.
11 straight years I didn't miss with him, and it's not that I was poly parroting him because I couldn't.
Right.
I mean, he would recruit. You had to be able to shoot a three.
Right.
Or you had to have all-American potential in the post.
Right.
That's about it. That's about it.
And the thing is, I think that's a good point you just made there is, and this is an educational thing. You want to take all this knowledge and put it in, and then you have to pick what's going to fit you. Oh, yeah. And I've told this story. I was under 7 head coaches before I got my first job. Yeah. And because I've been successful because of those 7 people, because I took a little piece of each one of them and I said, ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. And then because there's no other, Jay Wright. There's one Jay Wright. There's one Bobby Knight. There's one Coach K. So you have to be your own person.
Boy, that's good. That's a Don Meyerism right there.
Yeah.
Be who you are. You can't be anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would advise young coaches or anybody coming into the game that just get used to the thought that no one's going to love it as much as you do. No one's going to be as dedicated to it as you do. You're going to run across a gym here and there, but like if you're in high school or youth, you are a small part time-wise of these kids' days and everything that they got going on. Okay. And now I think you are more impactful than anybody else in their entire day.
Well, and a point that I make to all the young coaches, I've said this 1,000 times, I'll say this 1,000. I do not want to be a kid's last coach.
Right. Oh, that's excellent.
I don't want to be, especially if I'm a youth coach, I don't want to be their last basketball coach, because if I'm their last basketball coach, it means they stopped.
Right.
I don't want to be the last coach. I want to be part of that journey along the line for them.
Right. Well, now, see, I'm going to turn this back on the Read and React, but you know what? I mean, this is the things the things you're covering right now were motivating factors in creating the Read and React, because I coached negatively many years.
Bobby Knight, baby. It's a Bobby Knight era.
I mean, look, And look, you can get results from negative reinforcement. You just can't build long-term relationships with that. You just can't.
No.
And you cannot recruit the energy and creativity from players that way. It just making it miserable, you know?
Right.
And so, you know, when you were talking about helping them with their decisions, see, again, I wanted to sell read and react, not let's take something like passing.
Right.
Okay. I didn't want to, all my coaching life, it was, I need you to pass and share the ball to be a good teammate. Come on, right?
Right. Yeah.
And in the read and react, and of course you're fighting when I say that, you know, you're having to fight at the same time. You want a player to be aggressive, take what the defense gives, and yet you want them to share the ball. Do you hear the contradiction in my voice? I mean, what?
Right.
You hear this contradiction in this message?
Right.
How does a kid decide, should I run the play or should I, you know, no one's between me and the goal. Should I take it and go? I mean, what, right? If I turn it over, coach is going to, you know, yank me for not running the play. There's problems there. I wanted to be able to say, look, I want you to pass because a couple of things. I only want you to pass if you can't beat this guy. And if you can't beat the guy, we're going to give you a chance at scoring the moment you pass. You're going to be our first option.
Right.
And so I think that's a lot more positive and will recruit his energy than to say, just be a good teammate and share the ball. I know what share the ball means. It means you don't want me to shoot and you want Joe over here to shoot.
Right.
You know? Well, I didn't want to do that. Well, now, if that's not good enough, then I want to tell them, look, you are much better. I am going to show you how to get your shot without the ball.
Right.
So when you hit the lane, I want you, and here we go with everything else in the read and react.
And do you work on showing on how to show on the cuts? Do you teach them, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, just like you would a post player. Think about this. Don't you tell players in the post, look, show the ball your numbers, right?
Yeah.
Hands up, out, elbows out, show them your numbers, and you tell the passer, don't throw it to them if you don't see that, right? If you don't see their hands being an eager, hey, point guard college, being an eager receiver, right?
Right. Yeah. Yep. Happy hands. Yep.
Happy hands. Well, same way on your cuts. I'm not going to throw it to someone who's not showing me their numbers. They're eager receiver, peppy hands.
Right.
But I told you a moment ago, I wanted to make a point about the cutting, okay?
Okay.
Just want you to think about this. I want to do a whole new course on how to teach the read and react from this standpoint. I want to ask you something. You're fresh off of the tournament, the NCAA tournament, right?
Right.
You saw all kinds of great set plays, okay? So, all right, so those teams that run them, right? So let me draw a picture in your mind. There's just been transition, and they didn't score. The offense didn't score. Now the balls come back into the point guard, the playmaker's hands, right? Okay, now the other four players, they've got to get open, right?
Right. Yep.
So where do they go?
They stay wide.
Huh?
They go to the spots. They stay wide for the most part in the NCAA.
Yeah. Now, okay, but if they're going to get open on a screen,
right?
Okay, where are they going to go? Okay, if you're going to get open by yourself or something like, or if that ball handler is going to say take a ball screen, they're all going to spread out.
Right.
If he's not going to take a ball screen, they all go down towards the lane.
Right.
And they start setting screens or for someone to run off of a screen to come out.
Yep.
You can see almost every NBA set.
Yeah, all that's like screen. Yeah.
They go there first so they can break out to get open.
Right.
If they're going to come off of screens.
Yep.
If you're not going to do the ball screen thing.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
The high ball screen thing. High ball screen thing, you're exactly right. They're all going to go out on the perimeter.
Right.
If not, if you're going to get a down screen, if you're going to come off of a double, so everybody starts going to the lane. So one of the reasons that you always cut after you pass in the read and react is I need to get you in the lane so that you can get open
right
for the next action. Okay?
Right.
You'd be, if we were calling a step play, you'd probably be going down there anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? So you cut down there. Now you can either get open on your own. That's called filling out for us, right?
Yep.
Or you could screen for a perimeter player, or you could use a screen if someone's in the lane, a post player or another cutter, or you could set them a screen and then, work to get open off of it. Or you do, if there's a post and another cutter, there's a double staggered for you to get open. What I'm saying is, Steve, I could teach the entire read and react, every layer, every action, from a standpoint of you're in the lane, you got to get open.
When you're in the lane.
When you're in the lane and you don't have the ball, you now got to get open. Don't you want to get open? Don't you want the ball to go one-on-one?
Right. And then how long do you let them stay in the lane?
That depends on them.
Okay.
That depends. I'm not
because my guys tend to stay too long. Like we have a 3-second rule.
Well, now, okay. So now we're talking about purpose of your cut. Now that's why I want to talk about if you're trying to get open to get the ball again on the perimeter, you're not going to spend time wandering around down in the lane.
Right.
They'll throw the ball to somebody else.
Right.
Get your feet wet and then get out of there with purpose to an open spot with eager receiver hands. And, is it off of the screen or are you going to go screen to get yourself open? It will tell you what your next action should be.
Right. Right.
Use it.
Okay. Perfect. All right. I got tons more. All right. So now I'm going to do we're going to end with my rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you a question. You get one answer.
Oh, I'm horrible at this. Okay.
Okay. You get one answer. All right. Ready?
Yep.
One word to describe your ideal player.
Oh, God. I am horrible at this. Teachable.
Ooh, I like that. All right. What's your favorite basketball? And what I mean by is like Spalding, Rock, that kind of stuff.
See, I've forgotten what they call this. The soft touch with the high ridges. Who makes that?
Oh, that's not Wilson, is it?
No. High ridges.
It's not is it the Rock?
I want to say that, yeah.
Okay, the Rock. Kids like the Rock a lot. All right, if you could go to one sporting event in the entire world, what would it be?
Oh, gosh, man. One sporting event?
Yep.
Well, it's just, for me, it's got to – well, all right. It's got to be the NCAA finals.
Okay. I've been.
But then my second's got to be, say, maybe every other basketball final, NBA, WNBA, maybe. Women's, and if it's outside of basketball, the UFC.
Oh, really? Okay. That's cool. All right, what's your favorite pregame meal?
Very little.
Oh, that's good. Brendan said free. That was pretty funny. That was the funniest. That was the funnious one we've had. I'm better
on a almost an empty stomach.
I tell the players, I said, and there's been studies on this. You're better to be a little hungry than to be full when you play.
I need as much blood supply going in my brain. I don't need it down there digesting.
All right, yeah. One thing you do to relax.
The one thing I do to relax is, wow. See, I was going to say some form of a workout.
Okay.
It helps me to relax.
Okay. Best player you've seen in person.
Best player I've seen in person. Oh, remember I told you I went to. We got Mike Bibby for my first DVD.
Yep.
We went out to video him, and I got to see LeBron James' first NBA game, Sacramento Kings.
No.
Yep. I think that was his – I know that was his first year. I thought that was his first game, but I'm not sure. But, yeah, I got to see him. I'm there on the court.
I haven't seen him in person. All right, best player of all time.
Yeah. Holy man. And I can only say one.
Mm-hmm. That was a lot harder for Coach Sir than it was for you because he saw a lot of really good players.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'm going to cheat on this. I'm going to go ahead and say it's It's Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Michael's winning by about 95%. You feel good about that, Michael. Yeah.
Of the time, but I had to throw out some people. I mean, you got to talk about people like uh, Pete Maravich or Rick Barry or
My high school coach said Bob Cousy.
Right. Well, Rick Barry, Rick, you think about Rick Barry, 30, the only guy to lead the NCAA, ABA, and NBA in scoring.
I know.
And most of the, not the ABA, but the others was without a three-point line. So you're talking about 36, 37 points a game.
I know. It's crazy. And I don't even know if the players know that the NBA logo is him, right?
Is it him?
It's him. I think it's him.
Is it him or Jerry West? I don't know.
Oh, it might be Jerry West. Is it Jerry West? It was one of the two. I knew it was one of the two.
Hey, but let me say one more. Back when you said best player that I've seen.
Yeah.
Well, look, I got to be on the floor. I mean, within touching distance and playing with him in a camp. Dave Beam.
No.
You remember Dave Beam?
I do.
Yeah, Dave Beam.
I was telling Brendan, I saw when I was we were talking about how it used to be with 5-star and Blue Chip, those two camps.
Yeah.
That when I went to Blue Chip, I got to see Akeem Olajuwon play Larry Bird one-on-one.
Oh my gosh!
I know.
Oh.
If it was nowadays, we'd all had our phones out and stuff.
What's
one thing that helped you become a better coach? One thing that helped you become a better coach?
One thing to help.
One thing that's made you a better coach or helped you become a better coach.
My time no, I can't say that. It has to be that I've been following Jesus Christ for a long time, since 1979.
Okay.
And the idea of a servant leadership, a servant leader being the best type of leader has kind of kept my head on straight.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
It's giving you a guide. Yep.
Yes.
Best game you've seen in person.
Best game I seen in person.
It can be any level. We've had anywhere from a high school game to an NBA final.
The best one that I saw in person was 1977, 76, 77, I think, 75, 76. And it was Western Kentucky University, Western Kentucky Hilltoppers against Middle Tennessee State University for the OVC. I don't know if it was for their championship now. It was I'm pretty sure it was at Western.
Okay.
It was just I was close to the floor and the thing was.
It was just one of those things.
It was just one of those great games, yeah.
Okay. One word that describes your coaching style.
Passionate.
Okay. Top bench player of all time.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like I really feel like I'm pulling teeth, Coach. I'm sorry.
I told you, I am the world's worst at the best bench player of all. Oh, hey, how about the kid from
Villanova?
Villanova, yeah. What's his name? It's
yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Well, best coach of all time.
30 points in the finals?
I
Come
know.
on.
Crazy. Hey, but there's a prime example, especially for the young coaches out there. They dug up his tweets from when he was 13 or 14. He's been taking heat for that. Can you believe that?
Get out of town.
No, yeah. You go on USA Today. There's a big article about it today. Yeah. There's some, he was 13. He's making some bad decisions, saying some things he shouldn't say. And Oh yeah, they're digging it up. It's out there forever. All right, best coach of all time.
Best coach of all time. Don Meyer.
He'd be on my list. One book you would recommend. See
Don
how
Meyer,
hard that would be for me.
Yeah,
What?
I know. And the only reason I say him over John Wooden is I knew more about him. That's all. Go ahead. What?
Yeah. One book you'd recommend.
For
anything.
For
It can be any book. I mean, that you would recommend someone read. It's been everything. We've had everything.
Okay. Well, I've already
more for a coach. More for a coach.
More for a coach.
What was the one that Brendan gave? He was like some sort of leadership one. I don't even remember.
Yeah, that was a very good one. But the one and gosh, I can't even remember the name of it. It's over here. It's by John Wooden, Little Blue Jacket. I keep coming back to it and reading it over and over again.
Oh, I know what the one you're talking about. I'll find it. I'll find it and put it in the show notes. Yeah. I'll find it. Then what was my last one? Oh, one thing you would tell a young coach in parting as we kind of end here.
As we kind of end.
Some advice.
Teach. Yeah. Let that be the tagline, under your name. Let that be what the kids say about you when it's all said and done, that this was one of the best, if not the best teacher that I've been.
Hey, Coach, so happy you're enjoying the video. Make sure you subscribe and like, and then go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It's a community of like-minded coaches that want to get better at coaching. Come over and join us, and let's head back to the video.